I'm Sandra, and I'm just the professional your small business was looking for. But you didn't hire me because you didn't use LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn has professionals you can't find anywhere else, including those who aren't actively looking for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role, like me.
In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you'll miss out on great candidates like Sandra. Start hiring professionals like a professional. Post your free job on linkedin.com/spoken today.
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, Randy.
Since we founded Bombas, we've always said our socks, underwear, and T-shirts are super soft. Any new ideas?
Maybe sublimely soft.
Or disgustingly cozy.
Wait, what?
I got it. Bombas. Absurdly comfortable essentials for yourself
and for those facing homelessness.
Because one purchased equals one donated.
Wow, did we just write an ad?
Yes.
Bombas. Big comfort for everyone. Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase.
Hello, and welcome to Voices from the Battlefield, part of Waterloo Remembered. The next extract is read by Napoleonic reenactor Edward Hammond, and consists of the recollections of a French officer, Captain Robineau.
This is Edward Hammond of the 21e de Ligne reading an account taken from the journey diary of Captain Robineau of the 12e de Ligne. First published in 1908, with included extracts in Andrew Field's book of French eyewitness accounts. This particular piece resonates with me not only because of its level of descriptive detail, but also its insights into issues of individual mentality and experience at the human level when order and discipline collapsed. As societies and communities continue to invoke Waterloo and the Napoleonic Wars in arguments of national identity and collective memories, we are reminded of the deep sense of mental trauma that many soldiers experienced and the extent to which they became motivated by inherent human instincts of survival and self-preservation. As reenactors, this is of course something which we will never be able to emulate in emotional terms, and which only exists in the written record. At 10 a.m. on the 18th, the whole French army was put in motion and advanced onto the plain. The army was echeloned in close columns, by the foot of the mound where the Emperor was, and they each went to where they were assigned. The corps of which I was a part was directed on the farm of Hougoumont, fortified and defended by the English. It was situated on a small height which dominates the plain at all points, and at the foot of this farm there is a big wood irregularly planted, below which we were in closed columns. We formed the extreme left of the army. Count Ray, who commanded 2nd Corps, came to give us the order to take the position held by the English, and to take the farm as a strong point, and to maintain ourselves in this position during the battle without losing or seizing terrain. Immediately the charge was sounded, and we set off en masse, bayonets lowered on the enemy, who put up a stiff resistance. The fighting, which was stubborn on both sides, and the musketry was murderous, continued with equal determination. Half an hour sufficed for the French to take this formidable position. If we had had 2 regiments of cavalry, we would have made a great number of prisoners. While in the centre and on the right of the army, the cannonade was very lively, and the musketry the best sustained that had been heard. We always held firm in this important position. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Marshal Ney came to our position, and shouted to us in a strong voice, "Courage! The French army is victorious. The enemy is beaten everywhere." The Emperor, seeing a body of troops deploying onto the plain, immediately announced the arrival of Grouchy, Commander-in-Chief of the cavalry. Immediately, he ordered the attack on the plateau called Mont Saint-Jean, occupied by the English under the orders of the Commander-in-Chief of the combined armies, Lord Wellington. There he met a firm resistance, and numerous artillery, well positioned, vomited fire and flame on all parts. The Imperial Guard immediately advanced and took the position in an instant, but it was immediately retaken. The Guard immediately formed square and beat a retreat with an unequal determination. Summoned several times to surrender, it preferred death to dishonour. and we heard those words so worthy of the character and fine name of France. The Guard dies, but does not surrender. The so-called Corps of Grouchy was none other than a Prussian corps, 15,000 men strong, commanded by Blücher, who came to cut up our army and take it in flank. The confusion became general throughout the whole army, and perhaps one day posterity will inform us of the reasons why Grouchy did not receive the Emperor's orders to advance onto the plain at the indicated hour. I refuse to be drawn on this subject. In the position in which we found ourselves, we were not able to easily see the movements of our army. Concerned by no longer hearing the cannonade, except in the distance, with one of my friends named Waterloo, a captain like me, I left the position for an instant, and we advanced from 200 to 300 paces into the plain to see where our army was, for we had received no orders. What did we see? Our troops were clearly in retreat. We immediately warned the general who commanded columns of retreat, as soon as he was convinced, and recommended us to keep the closest silence and to stay in good order. This did not last long. We received several balls from behind us, and the frightened soldiers, looking behind them, saw our Polish lancers and took them for English cavalry. "We are lost," the shout was repeated throughout the column, and soon we were in complete disorder. Each thought only of his own salvation. It was impossible to rally such distracted soldiers. The cavalry followed the impulsion of the infantry. I saw dragoons in retreat, galloping, knocking over the unfortunate infantrymen, and riding over their bodies with their horses. This happened to me once. Irritated by such disorder, exhausted without the strength to run, for we had already run for half an hour in the plain without being pursued, which I had noticed several times, and I did not cease to shout as loudly as possible, "Halt! Rally! No one is pursuing us!" Seeing that my efforts were useless, I found myself a musket and faced up to 2 or 3 dragoons, raising my bayonet and aiming my musket at them, and calling on them in a loud voice and in a firm tone that nothing pursued us, and that I would shoot the first man that passed me. I finally imposed upon them to stop, and I managed to gather about 12 cavalrymen and 60 infantrymen. I said to them, "Follow me, I will lead you and get you across the Somme without trouble." They put their confidence in me, and I did my utmost not to mislead them. I led them to a point I knew, named Pont-sur-Sombre. We marched all through the night, and arrived there at 6 a.m. in the morning of the 19th.
That was the Napoleonic reenactor Edward Hammond reading from the recollections of French officer Captain Robineau. Stay tuned to the Napoleonicist, where more instalments of the Voices from the Battlefield series will be released throughout the day.
Planning for your next trip? Elevate your travel style with Quince. Quince has all the jet-setting essentials you'll want for your next getaway, like European linen, premium luggage options, buttery soft Italian leather bags, and so much more. And it's all priced at 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Plus, Quince only works with factories that use safe and ethical manufacturing practices. Pack your bags with high-quality essentials you'll be wearing for vacations to come with Quince. Go to quince.com/trip for free shipping and 365-day returns.